Hey gang, this is Andy over Falco Canine Academy. I am glad to let you know that the Northern Ireland dogs have arrived. They've been here for a couple days and they're acclimating pretty well. Now, I'm not sure, how much experience the dogs have had running freely in a backyard. In many cases, and although I know Chris out there in Northern Ireland, he takes the dogs out, works with them and that kind of stuff. But the experience of being in the backyard, where we have a pool and, grass to run around and, of course, a pair of shoes, which they found really fun to play with, which is like the garden shoes that you go outside with. I'm in front of I'm behind my logo there. Let me fix that so it doesn't look so funny. And so I think it's new for them. So I think that's been a very new experience for them. I think they've had a good time with it, maybe too good of a time. And so they're getting a good experience with all that kind of stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just moving my logo so that my head doesn't. There it goes. So it's behind my head. And so I'm going to show you a couple pictures here of them. One of the things we do when they first get here, and I'm going to talk about the arrival of the dogs in just a minute, but one of the things we do when they first get here is we just really get them acclimated, first of all, to the temperature, right? So Southern California, especially as we begin moving more into the summer months, is a slightly different temperature, especially the last few days it was right around, I think, in the 80s or 90s. I was in other states and other countries, so I think that we got up into the 90s a couple days when the dogs were here, so I'm pretty sure that was pretty new to them, that they've never really felt that kind of temperature change. And, of course, food changes. I'm fairly certain that I don't feed them the same thing as they were getting in Northern Ireland. And what else do they have to get used to? Again, the backyard, the sights and the sounds and things that they will hear here that they don't hear in a kennel environment, other than the other dogs and the other kennels and that kind of stuff. And the different people. So I have different trainers. I have Derek and Courtney have come through and just are feeding them and handling them and that kind of stuff. And so just the overall different experience with different people with different kinds of voices, different requirements, and that kind of stuff. And then of course the shoes that they find out there that they turned into confetti and that kind of stuff. And so all that is new and an experience that they have to have time to kind of get through. I'm going to show you some video today of me playing fetch with them, and you can see how quickly they begin to get heated, and their tongue comes out, and they're trying to cool off, and that is really because they're not acclimated quite yet to this different temperature, so that's some of the things that we have to get them used to. So let me first show you a picture of the dogs. I didn't load the one where they're in the crates at the airport. Darn it, I probably should have done that. And I'll have it for one of the other broadcasts, but excuse me. So here's a picture of Flash. Flash is a smaller dog than Ollie, and he is a little bit more active, and so it's hard to get a really good picture of him because he'll stand still for just a moment, and at the moment your camera's getting ready, on the iPhone when you push that little red button, and then there's a little bit of a delay. Of course, that's when he begins to move. So I think this is a pretty clear picture of him. It was just prior to him moving. And so, again, a smaller dog, a little bit more slightly built. Even the head is a little bit smaller than Ollie. And that's exactly what the person who is purchasing the dog wanted. And so that's the one picture. I don't know if I have another picture of Flash. No, that's the only one. I do have video, so you'll see Flash in just a moment playing fetch with the ball. And then we have Ollie standing. Oops, I got to get rid of that other image. So I got to go to Flash. There he goes. So there's Ollie. Ollie, you can kind of see in it. The picture really doesn't tell you exactly the full story, but you can see he has a little bit rounder, bigger head. He stands a little bit taller and is a little bit of a bigger dog. Not much bigger, so I don't want you to get the impression that he's a huge, gigantic dog. They are not. Many of the dogs we get from Northern Ireland are slightly smaller than what you are used to seeing here in the United States. Now, that's kind of one of the reasons why we like them, but yet they have the energy, they have the sociability, and the desire to play like a Labrador Retriever, and actually probably a little bit higher. And again, that's exactly what we want. Part of the process of training them is to teach them to kind of harness that energy and to use it to our advantage to search. And you'll see that later on as we begin to train them a little bit more, a little bit more training in regard to the search and the finding of the odor that we're going to train them to find. Right now, the first about week and a half is just acclimation, environmental experiences, playing fetch in different locations, and that really gets them started on the right foot, because we really want the dogs to learn how to have fun in this new environment, that their new life is going to involve play and search and hunt, and it's going to involve doing that in new environments. So it's really important in these first few days as they get here to quickly, but not too quickly, get them used to the environments that they're probably going to be working in. So we're going to begin to visit some of our training locations. I'll take them out to Home Depot and PetSmart and Petco, and just to get them out, because again, these dogs come from Northern Ireland. Not that they don't have those kinds of places up there, but Chris, and I'm not sure of all the places he can take them, but he has a number of dogs. I think at one point he had something like 25 dogs or so, probably this kennel, and I doubt very much that he loads all those dogs up on a daily basis and has the time. It's not that he wouldn't do that or doesn't want to do that, but it's just, how do you take 25 dogs to all kinds of different locations to get them used to different environments? The best thing you can do is when I'm when I'm meeting a dog, is that he'll then take the 2 dogs or 3 dogs or 4 dogs, whatever it is that I've kind of narrowed it down to, and with his help have narrowed it down to, he'll take those dogs out and show me what they look like in different environments, and make sure that they get over some of the sights and sounds of things that they may overcome while they're out running around. So it's Flash and Ollie. You're going to hear about them a lot as we go through the training and see how they progress, and I'm going to do my best. So today, when I was out there, of course, I'm by myself. I got my phone and the camera setting in one hand, the leash and the tennis ball in the other hand, and trying to make all that happen. And so there's not always going to be an opportunity for me to make video and take pictures. So if it takes a few days for you to get them or see them, or me to come on and do a Facebook Live and give an update, you can imagine why. It's just not always ideal to be able to do all those things at once. But when I can, I'll make sure and do that. All right. Let me first talk about when they got here. So here's all the paperwork that these dogs have to go through between the broker. You got Lufthansa Cargo, what's her name? I forgot their name. Flegenheimer, yeah. So Flegenheimer is who I use as a broker. I think they're fantastic. I really like them. How did they do on this? Did they treat you well?
They were excellent.
Excellent, yes. I really like them. Especially because I know that they deal with people that bring in items from overseas on a daily basis and know what they're doing. And we don't do this every day. And especially I needed some help, so I had some assistance from Tiffy and Derek, who went out there to LAX and Flegenheimer, and they've never picked up a dog that was traveling inbound from Europe before. So they understand that, and they're very helpful in getting that all done. So tons of paperwork. The dogs come with what's called a pet passport. So I'll just show you one of them. And this pet passport obviously has the European Union, and this is United Kingdom, and it has to be stamped with all of their vaccinations, all their information, name and type of dog, their date of birth, male, their color is black, their alphanumeric transponder code, and the date, I guess it was embedded, and where the location is mid-shoulders. And then the veterinarian's information goes here with a stamp, and then the vaccines that are given that are required, especially rabies, and what other vaccinations the dog may or may not have go in the appropriate boxes. I know there's some other ones in here somewhere as soon as I can find them. No. Where are they? Oh, there we go. So, Novartis. And where else? I think there might be that one here somewhere. Yep. Advantix. Parasite treatment. Can't pronounce that one. I don't know what it's for, though. Other vaccinations. It just says other. And so it's other vaccinations. And that the dog shows no signs of diseases and is fit to travel and be transported. So that all goes inside this passport. Both dogs have to have one. Of course, I get x-rays of the dogs before the dogs are even sent, so I can take a look at the x-rays and I can also have my veterinarian look at the X-rays to confirm that the shoulders and the hips, the vertebrae are all look good and look healthy and that kind of stuff. So when we're dealing with Fleckenheimer and Lufthansa, you also got customs. Now, customs can be they're just not really the customer service. I don't know that that's part of the training. And I didn't want to scare away my people who were going there to help me out, but I told them it could be challenging. And sometimes actually it is, like if Air France, I've not had a great experience with in their cargo. They can sit there and stare at you as if you're invisible for hours and don't have a problem doing that when they're not even, they're eating snacks or chewing sunflower seeds or something like that. But Lufthansa, you're just dealing with cargo. Again, they're used to guys coming in there that know what they're doing, that are truckers, that they have become friends with and that kind of stuff. And of course they see them first and greet them and say hi to them, and people that they don't recognize, they kind of overlook and that kind of stuff. So, but customs, again, a whole different animal. They're just not customer service minded, and I think that maybe 2 to 3 hours is probably wasted just dealing with them, which doesn't have to be. And they can be sitting there just gabbing away at the water cooler, talking about where they're going to go for the river or go for lunch, and just could care less, pretty much. So that's the experience. So I think in the end, we ended up, how long? 6 hours? 6 hours at LAX picking up the dogs. So the dogs arrive at 1 o'clock. 6 hours later, the dogs get loaded on the truck. Why it takes 6 hours? Nobody knows. It's just the way things go. And it's really sad because the dogs had already spent probably about 18 hours or so flying, because they go from Northern Ireland probably to Paris, and then from Paris then maybe make one more stop somewhere else. But the flight's not short. It actually takes a long time. So hey Doug, glad to see you. So let's take a look at just so you can see them. Again, it's not too exciting, but it is going to show you just a little bit about the dogs as we get started. Let's start with Flash. Now again, Flash was a little bit more difficult to videotape because he's and does run around quite a bit, so I had to make some adjustments and turn off the camera and that kind of stuff. So here he is, just running after the ball. I like how he kind of rubs his belly. Remember, these dogs are about a year old, so they're young. And this is his first time really out front. I would have him off leash, but I just want to have that leash dangling from them in case another dog comes around a corner, which did happen. A golden retriever and the owner came around the corner. Flash went over there and visited. I just picked up the leash, and the owner said hi, and we had some pleasantries, and they continued, and then we continued to play fetch with Flash. So there's one video. Let's see if I can find another one. Again, these are fairly short of Flash because there was a lot of just he moves so quickly. Look, and he comes back. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the routine that's important for you to know about playing fetch with dogs.
Nice job.
It's not so apparent on this video, but it will be on the video with such a puppy. With Ollie, you're going to be able to see kind of the routine that I do with that dog. So just take note of what I don't do when the dog comes back. Let's see if he comes back this time. Just take note of what I don't do. He found the other ball. There are 2 tennis balls out there, so he can decide which one to pick up and bring back. Let's see if I can get one. Oh, he didn't see it. All right, so let's go to the next. Remember, that's Flash there. So let's go to Ollie. Ollie. I'm going to have that accent, I guess, when I play with him. So here's Ollie. We bounce the ball, throw it out. So when you're playing fetch with a dog, and he's also about the same age as Flash, a year old also. So the one thing when you are, especially when you're greeting a dog for the first time, wow, that was fast. That was not the one I wanted. Hold on, I'm going to load another one in here. That is a little bit longer video. So the importance of this time with the dogs is that, I guess that's the only one I have. So let's go back to this other one really quick with Flash. Sorry about that. That's the only one I have of all these. There's a longer one I'll have to load in a little bit later on. But let me just go back to my camera really quick. And so the important thing is that remember that you're building a bond between you and the dog, especially when they first get here. You want the dog to look at you as, a nice guy that takes care of them, that feeds them, gives them water, and even plays fetch with them. and treats them well. You know, you don't want the first thing to happen when you get them is that as you're going out in the backyard, the wind catches the door and slams the door on their body as they're going through. That would be negative, right? So their first experience is me grabbing them, taking them into the backyard, and they get hurt, right? That's bad. So you don't want that. You don't want walking through the garage, for instance, and maybe the floor is wet and they slip and fall. Again, bad experiences. So you want to minimize as many bad experiences for the dog as they come into the new location, the new home, and have more positive experience so that their time with you is a fun and enjoyable one. That way, when you begin training, you're starting on the right foot. That way, if you do need to correct them or stop them from doing something they're not supposed to be doing, that's not as great as an impact. It's actually more teaching than as opposed to putting some type of fear in them. So you want to be careful that in the first few days, especially the first week, that you do your best, that it's just fun, and minimal, incidents of where the dog gets fearful or hurt or confused, to the best of your ability. Now, the one thing I realized with, I think it's Flash now, I'm looking back, I'm pretty sure it's Flash, he has an issue with the metal bowl making sound on the ground when he's eating. And so we may have to look at a different bowl because that really seems to be the only thing he doesn't understand or doesn't recognize what that noise is, and it's actually it causes him to pause as he goes in to eat. So there's that thing, right? And so we want to minimize that, right? We don't want the experience of eating to be something that he has to overcome now. Later on, we can help him overcome that noise issue or whatever it is about the metal bowl, the metallic bowl that he doesn't quite understand. So we're going to change out the bowls and make sure that he has something that he just comes in and eats. And then once he gets that going, then we reintroduce the metal bowl, for instance, to allow the dog to get past it, because now we've developed the bond. Once you have the bond, now things are going to be easier for him to overcome because now we're doing it as a team as opposed to individual, he's on his own and doesn't know who I am or what I'm doing. In regard to fetch, now let me come back to this video to kind of hopefully give you an example of what happens here. So this is probably the second time I threw the ball for the dog. So what I don't do when the dog comes back is I don't immediately grab for the ball or grab for the leash or grab his collar and choke the dog off the ball, right? We don't want that negative experience. We want the dog going out and then coming back with the ball to experience something negative, because what happens when that happens, when you do that to a dog? He's less likely to bring it back to you the next time, right? He's going to say, the last time I brought it back to you, you grabbed my collar and you pulled the ball out of my mouth after I ran and got it, and I thought we were having fun, right? Why is it when I come back that you immediately take something from me? Or why is it you immediately grab my collar, which feels very uncomfortable, especially coming from somebody that I don't know very well, right? So you don't want that to happen. So if you're bringing a puppy into your home, and you're playing fetch or something like that, the one thing you don't want to do is that one time they bring it to you, because what other things do you want dogs to bring to you? The slipper that they have in their mouth, or the remote control that they have in their mouth, and you say, here, if you don't do it right, they're less likely to bring something like that to you because of the experience that they had when they first brought back the ball to you, or the toy, or something else, is that you grab their collar firmly and you took it out of their mouth quickly, and that is negative. So, coming back to this situation, so in this case, we want to throw the ball, the dog goes and gets the ball, let's see, I think this is the right video, goes and gets the ball, and as the dog comes back, the first thing I do is pet the dog, right? Nice little pets, let the dog know that he's good.
Nice job.
Right? And he actually just kind of handed it to me, he turned around and kind of gave the ball to me, so the dog goes out again. And now the dog brings it back to me, because what happened last time, I pet him. I didn't take the ball from him. Nice. Good boy. And toss the ball out. So the first thing they experience on the way back is that pleasure of being touched and pet by the human being. See what happens here? Like that's where you can't decide which ball to bring. He comes back. And nope, there was a bit of pet there. All right, let's look at the other video, just to make sure that we stay consistent on this topic. All right, here you go. Watch him just kind of pounce like a rabbit on that thing.
Good job.
Gotcha, yep. But I don't chase him. I don't do anything. I want him to come to me. Right? And as soon as he does, I give him pets. Again, the one thing you don't want to do is do something that you don't want to happen later on. I see people often the dog comes back with the ball, and they begin chasing the dog around with the ball. What you're doing is you're telling that dog that when you come back, I'm then going to play a game of chasing you to try to get whatever it is you have back. And now the dog goes, wow, this is really fun. I go and get something, and then my owner goes and chases me. That's even double the fun. No, don't do that. I tell people all the time, walk away from your dog, or walk in the direction the dog is not going, because the dog will then go, hey, where are you going? We'll come back to you. And when he does, you pet him for coming back to you. You then take the ball and you throw it, because you're teaching the dog the response that I want from you is to come back. Come to me with whatever it is you have in your mouth, pet him, and then throw the ball again. All right? So very, very important. So those are some important tips for you in regard to greeting a dog, bonding with a dog, bringing a dog into your home for the very first time, and playing fetch. Because later on, when the dog gets something that you don't want, that when you tell him to come to you, he actually comes to you and doesn't run away. Doesn't stop 6 feet from you, because he goes, man, this is as far as I go, because if I get any closer, the first thing he's going to do is take my ball or grab my collar or pull on the leash or whatever that is, right? And just take your time with it. It doesn't have to happen immediately. So many human beings get in a really big hurry to get that ball back, or a really big hurry to get some obedience or some control over their dog. It's probably not the best thing to do. Now, I'm not talking about an aggressive dog like a Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd who has some issues. There could be some differences in the way you handle that kind of dog. But when you're talking about a Labrador Retriever where you're going to be training them to do something like detection work, that's all about the game of searching, hunting, finding, locating, alerting to, it's really, you got to be careful in those first few days that you don't repel the dog from you, because now you're going to be playing catch up to try to get that dog to engage with you, to have fun with you, and to look forward to the game of searching and finding and hunting and looking for that source of odor, and then giving you the trained behavior, which is going to be sit. Those are all responses that you're looking for from the dog, because he loves you and likes working for you. He's less likely to do it if he fears you or doesn't like you or doesn't respect you. All right? And this goes hand in hand with pet dog stuff too. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I'm glad to say that these dogs have arrived finally. It was a bear, as you saw in the last update. I have been out of like I said, the state and the country for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And so I am back now. These dogs are in. We're going to begin training them and working with them, and you're going to see hopefully a large number of updates. I wish I could actually tell you how many, but again, sometimes working by myself and trying to set up cameras and all that kind of stuff, the training of the dog is often is more important than setting up the cameras and preparing all that. But I'm going to do my best to give you as many updates as possible so you can kind of see the process. We also have our bed bug detection dog training course that's in our Falco Canine Academy website. And so you can just click on that button and it'll take you right there. There's a link in the description that if you don't have our report, it's a free report for training your dog with love and respect. Just click on that, put in your name and email address so I can email you the PDF version of that report. It's only 5 pages long, and I think if you read it, you understand it, you can make a huge difference in your dogs. And so go ahead and opt into that, and then attached to that is a bonus for our dog park etiquette, which I think you'll really enjoy. Watch the video and learn more about that program, and I think you'll really enjoy that too. So feel free to get into there. All right, if you have any questions or anything, just go ahead and respond in the comment section to this video. We will bring on some other people later on in the course of training these dogs, other bedbug dog handlers, and talk about what's going on with them and interview them about the bedbug dog industry and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in detection dogs, it doesn't necessarily have to be bedbug dogs. It could be bomb dogs, narcotics dogs, peanut detection dogs, what have you. It's all the same. It's just, in this case, it happens to be bed bugs. Odor is odor is odor. The dogs are trained to find odor, locate the source of it, and give you an indication where that is coming from by sitting. And so it doesn't matter what it is. We will just change the name from bed bugs to narcotics if that's what you're interested in. But the videos will all be pertinent and important to you if you're interested in that kind of thing. All right. That is it. That's the update for right now, and I will, again, be giving you further updates as we go along. All right, if you need that report, just click on that link and go ahead and just put your name and email address in there. That report will come in your email box, and watch the video that follows that process to learn more about the dog park etiquette program that we have available to you. All right, I will talk to you later. Take care, and